So today we're going to be looking at statistical questions, what they are, and how we figure out whether a question is statistical or non-statistical. This is just a refresher in case you kind of forgot what's going on. So basically it's all about the data. Data is just facts and statistics that we collect together for reference or analysis. So for example, you might want to find out what people's favorite animals are. That is a way to gather data. You would go around, ask people that question, and then find out for analyzing or for reference what people's favorite animal is. You could just be wanting to see where a cat stacks up in people's favorite animals. So that's where our statistical questions and our data comes from. So where do we get the data? From statistical questions. Let's break this down a little further. Statistical questions are what generate our data. So they make up what our data comes from. Statistics are things like measures of variability. So we have statistics. Okay, which is close to that word statistical. And basically, those are just measures of variability. So, what makes something a statistical question? Well, the main difference is that statistical questions generate a variety of answers, and non-statistical questions will have one single answer. Okay? We ask statistical questions when we want to know something about a group or a category of people or things. So the big thing to remember here is just that. So we have statistical, that's going to have a variety of answers. So you don't answer it in just one way. It might be answered in two or more ways. Non-statistical, you have only one possible answer. So that's the difference between statistical and non-statistical. So when you're looking at these questions and you're trying to figure out what's what, ask yourself, if someone asked me this question, would I answer it in one way or multiple ways? So let's look at some examples. Statistical or non-statistical. Again, don't forget, statistical is going to have more than one answer, so we could say 2 plus, and non-statistical would only have 1. So when I'm looking at how many pets do you have, so you specifically, are you going to give me one answer or multiple answers? Well, in this case, you're only going to have one answer because you only have one set number of pets. So this is going to be non-statistical. Looking at number 2, how long does it take a typical 6th grader to do their homework? Well, here's the big key on whether this is statistical or non-statistical. It's asking about a typical 6th grader. So you need to now ask yourself, does every 6th grader spend the same amount of time on your homework? Generally, no. So that means we're going to probably have answers for this more than one. So that since there's more than one answer, we're going to have statistical. Number 3, how many books did you read this summer? Again, now we're looking at you. Are you going to answer that in one way or more than one way? Well, since it's just you, you're only going to give me one number on how many books, so that's a non-statistical. 4, how many hours per day does the average person spend in the car? Again, now we're looking at does the average person. So that means we're looking at multiple people. And does everybody spend the same amount of time in a car per day? Chances are no. So we're going to have more than one answer for this, so this makes this statistical. Another thing you might have noticed is that my statistical questions have words like typical or average. Sometimes these words can be a key indicator on whether or not you have a statistical or non-statistical question. So that's something else to keep in your back pocket when you're answering these problems.